Well, hey guys, welcome to Star Wars on High. Thank you for stopping by. We are back with a Sunday chat. Sometimes we just have a topic that we want to discuss together and have you guys weigh in, and that always falls on Sunday. I say always, sometimes it comes on Monday or Tuesday. But this week, we're sticking to the schedule, and a couple of call outs before we get rolling here. First of all, Jimmy created us a Discord for our live stream on Thursday nights. The Gabbing Gonk Discord will be linked down below. There's several channels. You can talk to us. Jimmy especially has been very active. Ben is there as well as myself. We have some, posts as well as probably community questions that'll be coming over time. So if you're a fan of the stream, you're a fan of the channel, go check that out down below, join, and we will continue to be active there, especially as we have some upcoming releases coming, because Andor, even though delayed, is still fast approaching. We're getting to about a month away. And Tales of the Jedi, High Republic, Bad Batch Season 2.
Season 2, yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be busy. Make sure you're plugged in. That'll be, I think, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's about, you need to start posting in there. It's pretty quiet. It's just, I'm holding down the fort, man.
I know. Jimmy is the guy. I'm terrible at Discord. I'm terrible at keeping up on it, but luckily he's got us covered. This week, however, we had kind of an interesting thought. Jimmy was texting me. And for those who haven't seen, there's been a number of quotes this week where some of the sequel actors have been back in the spotlight being asked if they'd return to Star Wars. So Oscar Isaac, I think, gave a quote saying, paraphrasing, saying, yeah, I would absolutely return if it had a good script and a good director, right? And John Boyega was tweeting some things out there as well, kind of playing around with Oscar a little bit. And it begs the question, the return of the sequel characters, right? Obviously, we're years away from the end of that trilogy, and reaction has been mixed. I feel like in some ways it might be less of a topic because it's been longer now. We've had Mandalorian, etc., and it's maybe calmed down. However, still consistently in our videos, we hear a lot of complaints. And again, I am not a fan of the sequel trilogy. Jimmy probably likes them a little better than me. My favorite being Force Awakens, which I actually really enjoy. But regardless of how I feel about the movies, I think the actors are pretty universally considered really solid, and like they did a really good job in their role. So my first thought about having these actors return to the fray is, yeah, of course. I think they're extremely talented. I think their characters in themselves were very interesting. And even though the story around them, I don't think supported them and gave them really the arcs they might have, deserved, I would absolutely love to see them in Star Wars again. What do you think about this, Jimmy? I have some specific thoughts, but before I get, rolling with just the general idea, how do you feel about the sequel actors coming back into the fold?
I mean, I really want it to happen. Let's we'll dial it all the way back, and I'll give my spiel on that too, because I was seeing a bunch of social media posts from mainly John Boyega and Oscar Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy Ridley's still very hesitant on social media, respectably so.
Sure.
But I know she has also mentioned interest before, and I know at first none of them wanted to come back, because for a lot of Star Wars fans, the sequel trilogy left a bad taste in their mouth.
Sure.
But it also left a bad taste in the mouths of a lot of the actors involved because of everything that was going on. I appreciate the sequels because without them, I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you right now.
Sure.
If the sequel trilogy didn't happen, I probably would not know you existed. Think about that for a little bit. It's kind of wild how that works.
Yeah.
But, given the time, give it a little bit of time, we step away from for a while, and eventually you're like, I would like to come back, because the big topic that popped up was Oscar Isaac saying, I think, my Star Wars getaway was nice, but I think I would be up. I'd like to see some more Poe Dameron. And I mean, he said many comments before. It's like, if a great director is involved and Kathleen Kennedy is going to be there, I'm going to be there. So I think that speaks volumes, because I believe what he says, because Oscar Isaac is known to just speak his mind. He's not going to lie.
Sure.
And John Boyega especially.
Yeah.
He had a really rough time. They cut his character back so much.
Yep.
And then, he was involved with a lot of, political stuff that was happening at the time outside of Star Wars. And he even there was a video of him saying I don't care if I don't even have a job after this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, go you, man. But now I was like, yeah, because he just had that roughest time. And then everyone just kind of went away from him. So for him to say, yeah, I'd still like to come back, please, because I think there's just so much of a good story we can get out of these characters. Because I think personally, for some of us, that may not like the characters, I don't think we got enough time to spend with those characters.
Sure.
And I'm sure there's people that are saying, well, if the story's good, it doesn't matter how long you have those characters, you can like them with 5 minutes. But there's so much room to grow. It's really hard hopping into Star Wars with new characters and not getting that much time with them. So, for only these 3 movies, where it's very scarcely placed on their presence on the screen, depending on the movie, yeah, we need a little more time with them. And I think this is the driving force they're going to need to push Star Wars forward and away from the Skywalker saga, regardless of what name Rey chose. I still think it's important to have these characters there because it's just going to lead into new things. Rogue Squadron.
I have 3 thoughts, just off what you said, Jimmy. And we keep these Sundays very almost podcast form, where we're just talking back and forth. You talked about how if a movie has a well constructed story, you can make a character really effective. You can use that time really effective. Well, I think the weakest part of the sequel trilogy was the lack of consistent story and direction, right? So that's why those characters suffered, is they felt like
no story, no plan.
Yeah, the no plan is what it comes down to. And coming out of the theater for Force Awakens, I'm actually a big Force Awakens fan, and even more so after the fact when I've rewatched it in the past couple of years, I really get almost a little more bummed, because the energy in that movie, the feeling coming out of the theater was, okay, like, this is going to be special. I remember feeling like, okay, this is going to be maybe one of the most fun sequels we've got. Obviously, I think prequels are king, but I was like, man, they're introducing so much, and I'm going to specifically focus on our new characters. Leaving with Poe is an interesting new kind of pilot perspective, and I was all in on Finn coming out of the first movie. I was like, okay, Finn is going to have like a major kind of part in here. Him and Rey are kind of teamed up at the end with Kylo, and I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of this reoccurring battle where they're both going to be facing off against Kylo in different configurations, and I was really excited. And then of course Rey, right? We have a good mystery, good good kind of backstory where she felt, in the familiar territory of kind of the scavenger from or from this desert planet, right? But felt different in her own way, a little mystery to her, a little bit of intrigue, no real arrogance to her, real humble kind of vibe, which I was really gelling with. And where it took those characters is what disappointed me the most. And it's not, a lot of people who complain about the sequel trilogy. I have probably different complaints. It's not that Luke was old and cranky. It's not that, this or that. It's not that, Rey and Kylo kissed in the end. It's none of those things. It's just simply, it's obvious J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson had just different priorities in their storytelling. And that's the risk you run when you get creative directors and say, okay, you have some control. And they're like, okay, well, I want to tell this story. Well, they were obviously on different pages. And before we go down, that rabbit hole, just to focus on the topic at hand, the actors were good. The actors were really good. And you brought up exactly where my mind would go. I want to see stories that go beyond the Skywalker saga. And I'm getting some of that with the Acolyte. We're going backwards, right? Star Wars Eclipse, the video game might give us some of that. High Republic, but those are all going backwards. And I think one of the things that fans but I think what a lot of fans would really like to see is the future of Star Wars. What could the future mean? And the sequel trilogy was not such a leap in the future that it changed the game. There were small, subtle changes. But what happens after the First Order is defeated? What sort of new challenges is there in the galaxy? What's going on in Mandalore? Is Rey starting her own? There's obviously more Force-sensitive children. Rian Johnson showed it on screen. So is there a new Jedi Order starting? What sort of need for there is of a policing force is there with X-Wings? Is there some sort of republic being set up? And of course, what are they going to do with Finn? He was obviously, I think, widely recognized as the one who got left out the most as far as character. So all the things being said, you come out with a new movie, a new trilogy, a new show that takes place with these actors, maybe not as main characters, maybe as supporting characters throughout the story in this new Jedi Order style. I think you could really strike gold. But look, Oscar Isaac and Moon Knight, a show that some people have mixed feelings on. I liked Moon Knight.
So good.
It was a little too short for my liking, but his acting was phenomenal. In particular, episode 5, going through some of his trauma moments. So you can't look at me and say that they don't have the chops for it. They absolutely do. And a lot of people, even people who really hate, even like the most critical folks about Rey, I don't think Daisy Ridley has really gone out and been super inflammatory or super like fu. She's been, really, I think, pretty respectful and pretty reserved and pretty much like, hey, I'm just not going to interact with that stuff. I think it's easy to embrace her again in the community. And we just saw with Kenobi a return to like celebration with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. And I think that there's an opportunity here. Maybe it should be 5-10 years down the line, but we've got to go here eventually, Jimmy. We've got to go beyond. We've got to go to this new Jedi Order era. We've got to do something, right?
I think it really has to happen, and it's going to happen. And I mean, like, let's just add the part 2 of this video in right now. The fact that not only have those 3 said it, Kelly Marie Tran said she'd like to come back. Gwendolyn Christie said she wants to come back. Yeah, Grendelo. And I'm blanking on his name right now. Domhnall Gleeson said he'd also like to come back. I don't know. 2 of those, I'm not sure how you would do it, but
But they want to.
If they want to. That's the thing. It's the fact that everyone's had a break from it, and you're like, through and through, I had a good time doing that. I would do it again.
Yeah.
And I think that's really speaks volumes for Kelly in particular, because she got bullied off of the internet. She really just got rid of everything because she was tired of the hate, which is horrible. Yeah. Sadly, nothing new, but she wants to do it. She wants to come back. Everyone wants to come back. Let them do it. And I know Billie Lourd will always come back.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, until she says, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah.
So like that's you've got the full cast. Let it move forward.
And again, they don't have to be the main characters. They could just be involved. They could have storylines or arcs. To me, it is apparent with Marvel setting up a 10, 15, 20-year plan that Star Wars is not going to wrap up in 5 years. They paid way too much money. They're going to be making Star Wars content for the next 20 to 30 years, guys. And it might be, some years might be more than others, but we are going to get that. And what a way to give us, can you imagine, I'd love another movie. We've missed Star Wars on the big screen. But even, heck, if they want to do some new Jedi Order style post-Skywalker era over the next 5 years, exploring the new frontier of the galaxy, what's going on in all these quadrants, all these planets, and you can bring in new threats. You can bring in, doesn't have to be the Sith, and the Sith could play a role, maybe a changed role in this new galaxy where they're a threat, but maybe sometimes they have to team up with the Jedi to fight some new. You could just do so many interesting things in ways that we haven't imagined or haven't seen, that it feels like this has to happen at some point. It just has to. I with a good, concise vision, strong writing team, and focus, you could have the best Star Wars experience we've ever had in the future. I believe that. Not maybe in the next 5 years, but in the next 10, 15 years, they can absolutely start laying the groundwork to include these characters, to include this new era. And I think that's where it has to go. And maybe it's another trilogy. Or maybe we break the mold and it's 4 movies, 5 movies, an anthology. Maybe it's a one-off. I mean,
just make it episode 10. I mean, everything is there and is lined up perfectly for you to tell a new story now. Now that we have this labeled as the Skywalker saga, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with its place, but you have now real open ground to move forward. You don't have Legends holding you back. You don't have, let's finish this trilogy holding you back. You've got the threats out of the way. You can now move forward. Mm-hmm. So you can actually take all of the mistakes that happened in these movies and really repair and build upon them. Yeah. I wanted Finn to be a Jedi so bad. Too. It was right there. Yep. Given to, what happened in 8 and 9, you can easily say there was too much of a threat and not enough time for Finn and Rey to actually be like, okay, let's talk about the fact that you can use the Force, stuff like that.
It was already done because Leia didn't train in the Force in episode 4, 5, and 6, and obviously she was Force heavy in fact. So
and let me at least point out the fact that I'm not saying that they should make a new trilogy of movies to fix the problem.
Yes,
because I personally don't think there's a problem. Not every story is going to be for everybody, but it's there. You have all of the content already prepped. You have all these actors that want to come back. It's right in front of you. Just grab it.
And you're talking about fix the problems with like the organization, the planning, the legit. Like let's not make the mistake of picking 3 different directors and not having our story developed.
Right. And I mean, when you look at it, like everyone always goes on and be like, well, why are they writing books to fix their problems? It's not even that. It's just, that's all Star Wars has ever done. Star Wars is always building upon itself. Mm-hmm. Even with the original trilogy, George fixing it so it could be what he wanted to from day one.
Yeah.
prequel trilogy to give some backstory, all of these novels to fill in the blanks or fill in extra stories and help other things make sense. It's Star Wars is an active machine that keeps building onto itself, and it's never going to stop.
Yeah.
So for them to make a new set of movies that help fill in some of the blanks and some of the errors and gaps that we had in the sequel trilogy, that's nothing new. It's not saying that the sequels are so bad we had to make a new trilogy to fix it. It's just you have given yourself all of these holes that can easily be turned into more great stories.
There's story to be told. There's unexplored territory.
Yeah, it so much unexplored territory. And now, again, just keep moving forward. That's why I'm hoping if Rogue Squadron is truly this movie, and I say this because it hasn't been officially canceled yet.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be this movie set after the sequels like everyone is predicting,
be great.
Easy Poe Dameron stuff right there. Easy. You can go half and half. You can have this movie focusing on Poe, building up Rogue Squadron, maybe with Wedge involved in there. And then you keep moving forward. You've got Rey and Finn training. And they don't even have to be Jedi. They can be something that's just a Force user for good. Make the gray Jedi canon.
As I'm sitting here, like I'm getting excited in my head thinking of opportunities. Right? Because as anyone knows who's watched the channel, especially live streams or other videos, like I can be very critical of Marvel. I think Marvel has many flaws that kind of wiped over by their really great ability to just make fun, have great actors, bring back casts. But one thing I will give Marvel just massive credit for is crafting these large multi-year projects in phases. We just wrapped up the Infinity saga, and we've moved on to the multiverse saga. And regardless of the fact that I have complaints about some of the humor direction they take and some of the sameness to the projects, if Star Wars could take that level of planning and roll out, just imagine a 10-year window with movies and shows that build out, so you could have mainline movies. I'm not even a trilogy. I'm talking like a movie every couple years that tell like the main story. And our shows on Disney Plus could take us to like wars going on in Mandalore, or things going on in the New Rebellion, or schemes of the Sith. An animated show like the Clone Wars to support alongside it. So as we have this and so we could get these movie events where the Mandalorians we've been watching over on this show and the Rebels that we've watched in this movie. Oh yeah, and remember that Rogue Squadron, those folks are going to be here. And you pull in this larger 10-year plan, you bring that same kind of planning, that same kind of energy. And it's not about having cameos and it's just about giving us a really lived in, developed era, a 10, 15 years in the galaxy that we're growing with these characters. We're seeing the political scheming. We could have shows like Andor that are diving into the politics. We could have movies like Rogue One, standalone movies that just take place in this era. Call the era, the easiest thing to call it be the New Jedi Order, right? You have your main movies that follow the group of Jedi, but you could have a show about the Padawans going through training. You could have a show about all sorts of the political ramifications. I mean, as I just think about this, what a gold mine. I mean, what an idea that I think would absolutely be missed. And pull in characters from the past, bring back these actors from the sequel trilogy, let them be mentors, let them have roles, let Poe be the leader of a new group of rogues, let Finn be in some sort of, maybe a Jedi, or maybe he's just the head of the military intelligence, maybe he's a senator, I don't know. But you could do these things and weave these characters back into the fold and tell these new, incredible stories. It has to happen, because as much as I'm excited for Mandalorian Season 3, as much as I love Kenobi, we know what happens in these eras. They're limited to the scope of the time of what comes before. Let's go forward. There's just a gold mine there. And I'm just hoping they're working on that. And I'm hoping that's why we haven't heard really any movies announced. Like, take your time. If it takes 3 years for you to plan this, we'll wait. We'll wait for you to plan this out, to craft this narrative, this roadmap. But like, that's just got to be a reality for me. But I'm just dreaming. I'm scheming up here.
But it makes sense, especially because we have like all of these movies that have been like mentioned but are still in the waiting. Rian Johnson's trilogy, again, not officially canceled. Right. So I'm still going to wait on that until I'm told otherwise.
Yep.
Same thing with Rogue Squadron. Put on the back burner, not officially canceled. Sure. Taika Waititi's movie, Kevin Feige's movie.
Yep.
So that's what, 6 movies right there?
Sure.
And who knows? And those 6 movies could potentially all line up together and work in this 15-year era that we are fantasizing about right now, and it would work.
And I'm not. You don't have to follow the Marvel formula of like we have a solo movie, a solo movie, a solo movie, but you could do more focused, like Rogue One style movies where it follows a group or it follows a specific event, and it doesn't have to be like a trilogy where the movies, but of course the actions of the movie that comes before can influence the next show or can influence the next film, and you can just, I mean, imagine if like the first, and I'm just, really talented people could do this so much better than I could. But imagine like the first 5 years of the movies in the show lead to some giant galactic confrontation, right? They call it some sort of war. I don't know, hyperspace war. I mean, but you get what I mean. Where it's like they've built, like we've seen the Jedi forces kind of built up. We've also seen the scheming going on of this invader of some kind, and we've seen what's going on in the Senate right now, and it's all built up to this 2.5 hour movie where all of the chess pieces has been lined up. And we've seen, this amazing confrontation. There's just 100 ways you could do it. And I really hope that that's on the burner somewhere. Include these actors in here. They want to come back. They want what they saw Hayden and Ewan go through this year. They want that. They want to go to the conferences and be cheered and feel like, okay, all those years I spent being harassed, those were the vocal, angry minority. And fans, even fans who don't like my movie, do appreciate my service for Star Wars, do appreciate the time I spent. And I imagine in 5 to 10 years, when the generation a little younger than us, Jimmy, who grew up with these movies are growing up, they might have the same feeling that you and I have about the prequels, where we think the prequels are the best, and it's the generation before us did not feel the same way.
But here's what's going to happen, because as soon as I hear the younger generation say the sequel trilogy is the best, high fives all around. Because that's what I don't want that gap anymore.
Yeah. We got talented actors. We got all the money. Disney has all of the money in the world. They spent a lot on this. Let's get return on the investment. Let's invest. Let's tell a great crowd. Hire Jimmy and I for free. We'll work for free. We'll help you craft this. Okay, but maybe a little bit, maybe some free merch at least. But we will help.
Give me a place to live.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But give like vision, give thought, give time, build this story, build this world, build this roadmap, and you could have one of the most like surreal, successful Star Wars eras yet. You could really flip the narrative on Disney's like run on Star Wars, even though you and I are very positive on Disney's run. I said it before. I think there's been a lot more good than bad. Man, if I would every day, if you asked me any day of the week, 9 times, like you could ask me a million ways. If you said, okay, you're going to get The Mandalorian, the last season of the Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, and new books and new comics, new games, including Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. You're going to get all of that. You're going to get Force Awakens, which you like. You're going to get Rogue One. You're going to get Andor. But there's going to be 2 movies that come out. One of which, The Last Jedi, you're going to think does not connect well with the first movie, and the last one is The Rise of Skywalker, which you're going to think is a bad movie but a little bit of fun. That's the negative. I take it every day. I would take that trade every day. If it meant I'm going to have 2 Star Wars movies I don't like, but I'm going to get a Star Wars movie I love, a Star Wars movie I enjoy, and like 4 shows and 4 video games and 4 comics and like absolutely Tales of the Jedi, Bad Bat. Like, are you kidding me? So we're positive on it. Let's double down. Let's take it over the line. Let's really make the Disney reign of Star Wars, like let's cement it as kind of a positive experience for the whole fandom. Even though I think we're on the right track. I really do feel like we're on the right track.
I think you can only get better.
Exactly. Learn from the mistakes, like you called that earlier, Jimmy. Learn from the mistakes of what we did wrong with the sequel trilogy. We need better planning. We need more patience. And we need to make sure that we have alignment with our story plan. We need a Kevin Feige. We don't need one person. It could be like 3 or 4 people, but you need someone or a committee that has some sort of say on keeping the world tight and coherent and aligned. It doesn't mean every movie will be perfect. It doesn't mean every show will be good. there could be stinkers, but one advantage Star Wars has is they have some of the best animation projects that exist out there today. The Bad Batch, Clone Wars Season 7, the most recent ones I'm calling out, are just insanely good. And you could literally have live action shows in the same universe as animated shows running at the same time. Not after the fact. Like, you could have it all. You could have whole different demographics and age groups excited, and it's just, oh man, I mean, the creative juices that they have at their disposal. They have the ultimate sandbox that all of us fans want, and I hope they take it. I really do. And I hope these actors are in it and able to kind of get their moment in the sun, get their kind of happy fandom experience.
Yeah, and I think it really is just, you had the mistakes. The boat's not sinking yet, and that's why, they've taken that time. Like you said, there hasn't been any announcement on the next film yet because I'm sure they're really taking the time to hunker down and figure it out. And, the unfortunate truth is, even if these new movies are phenomenal, they're still not going to be for everyone.
Sure.
And that is unfortunate, as Star Wars fans. Not everything in Star Wars is for every Star Wars fan, but there's always going to be, for every one thing that isn't for you, there's at least 10 things that are.
And that's what we're saying. Like, Disney's given us probably far more that most people like than not. But what do you guys think? Let us know down below. I think, Jimmy, we need to, as I'm sitting here, you and I should make like our 10-year roadmap for Star Wars and make a video of just like our favorite, and send it to Lucasfilm. So get someone out there and see if
so they can look at it and be like, well, none of these ideas can be used now.
These are all terrible.
No, that's the problem. Like if we were to do that and someone opened it and saw it, and let's say they were working on that, they'd be like, well, now we have to start all over because we looked at somebody's. Yeah.
We'll have to do one or two things. We'll have to keep it vague enough.
Let's discuss it in the Discord, the Gabbing Gungs Discord. Once again, we got a link down in the description, probably the comments too. We really want you to join. We can have these discussions there, full blown, all night. I'll be up for the night. I promise you.
Jimmy got the night coverage. Well, thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate your time. Looking forward to the next couple weeks and months of Star Wars content. Let us know what you're excited for. Let us know how you feel about the sequel actors returning. And until next time, we appreciate you so much. See y'all again very soon.